Hey guys, Mr. T here. This is another video. This one is on Precedence Networks. So a precedence network is a directed network diagram showing the precedence relationships between tasks in a previously drawn precedence table. So in a precedence network, edges, which in a network are lines. Because it's a directed network, the lines will have arrowheads that go in one direction. Edges represent tasks, so they're labeled with task letters. So, for example, capital A. Vertices nodes, which are just the dots, represent the end of a prerequisite task and the start of a new one. So the vertices in nodes, they happen at the end of a task, which is the start of another. So they're between these arrowheads, basically. These vertices and nodes are unlabeled except for the very first one, the start node, and the finish node to indicate when the project has started and finished. So drawing precedence networks, what do? The following steps outline how you should approach drawing a precedence network formally. Step 1, you must have a completed precedence table. Step 2, begin from the left-hand side of your drawing area. So you've decided that you're going to draw a network in a particular part of your page. You should start from the left-hand side of that drawing area to ensure that you draw the network from left to right. That's what you're naturally accustomed to when writing. That's what you should just try to do for your answers. So step 3, find the task or tasks with no immediate prerequisites. The edge that you're going to use to represent these tasks can be drawn coming out of the start node. Make sure to finish each edge with a new node. So you're going to draw an edge for the first task that you find that has no immediate prerequisites, so a dash in your table. Draw it coming out of the starting node and make sure you put a node at the end of the arrow that you've drawn. Step 4. Now you identify any task with prerequisites of the edges drawn in your last step that you did. So it could have been from the edge coming out of the start, or it could have been from an edge that you've done quite a ways down the precedence table. All you're doing is looking for tasks that have prerequisites of what you just drew. Draw the edges out of the prior ending node, so out of the node that finished off the prerequisite task, and finish the new edge that you just drew in step 4 with another node. Step 5, repeat step 4 until the edge for a task you've drawn that is not a prerequisite for any other activity. So when you get to a task that does not serve as a prerequisite for anything else, it's basically the end, it's the last task to be done. So you draw this edge and dot it with the finish node at the end of it. Lastly, if possible, apply corrections to keep edge lines straight. So you want to try as much as possible to have the edges in your network diagram drawn straight, but following these steps you may find that you end up with curled lines because you don't know what direction you want this network diagram to be drawn. You're just going to draw it according to the rules, and then as the last step is, once you've decided how the prerequisite tasks join together for the last task, you may find that you would have drawn a curved line just to make it correct. But if you've got time, try to make those straight. You'll see what I mean when we do this example anyway. You'll get better at it as you go through this topic. So, for example, we're going to draw a precedence network for the provided precedence table. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 tasks here, and we have their prerequisites set up. We're not worried about any durations or anything. Here, we're just applying the steps for drawing a precedence network. So, 1, start off with the completed precedence table. We have done that. We've provided that. 2, begin from the left-hand side of your drawing. So I'm keeping in head that I want to start from the left-hand side. So around here and finish up somewhere over here. Step 3, find the task or tasks with no immediate prerequisites. The edges for these tasks can be drawn from the start node. Make sure to finish each edge with a new node. So the only task that I have with no immediate prerequisites is A. So this can be drawn from the start node. So I'm starting from the left-hand side. This is the only one of the only labeled nodes. Start. OK. And I'm going to draw the edge for the task with no immediate prerequisites coming out of the start node going from left to right. So we identified that task A has no prerequisites. So here is its edge. Make sure to finish each edge with a new node. So I'll put a node at the end of that edge. Step 4, identify tasks with prerequisites of the edges drawn in the previous step. So I'm up to step 4 now. I'm looking for prerequisites that are what I drew in step 3, which was A. Draw these edges out from the prior ending node. So in step 3, I drew A. A is the prerequisite of both B, C, and D. So I need to draw these edges out from the prior ending node. So A has to happen for B to occur, so B comes out of the prior ending node, that is B. C only happens when A has happened, so C comes out from the end of A, and D only happens when A has happened as well, so D comes from the end. Oh, that's not a D, that's a C. D comes from the end of the A task. Step 5, repeat step 4 until the edge for a task is drawn, which isn't a prerequisite for any other activity. So I've just done step 4. I'm going to do step 4 again, but I'm looking for prerequisites of what I drew last time. So I drew B last time. B leads to E. So B has been done. It leads to E being able to be done. C is a prerequisite for F. I drew C previously, so for F to happen, C has to have happened, so F can occur. D is a prerequisite of G, so for G to happen, D has had to happen, so I can draw G coming out of the D ending node. So that is step 4 done for another round. Repeat step 4 until the edge for a task is drawn, which isn't a prerequisite for any other activity. Well, E is a prerequisite of H. F is a prerequisite of... E is a prerequisite of H. F is a prerequisite of H. G is a prerequisite of H. So I'm not done yet. I've got another task, H, and H isn't the prerequisite. There's no other part of the table below E, F, G here that mentions H being a prerequisite. So H is my last step. So that's step 5 basically. Repeat until the edge for a task is drawn, which is not a prerequisite for any other activity. So what I'm going to do is H can only happen when E, F, and G have happened. So this is going to be centrally placed. Ooh. I'm going to centrally place it here. Why? You'll see in a minute. I'm going to draw H coming off of there, and H finishes the project. So this is the finish node. So this is what I mean about correcting curled lines. E is a prerequisite of H. So really, this E task line would be like that. F is a prerequisite of H, and it goes straight into H, so I'm done with that, I don't need to do anything. And then G is a prerequisite of H, so that would be this curled line coming up here to represent that E must happen, F must happen, and G must happen. E, F, and G must happen before H can proceed. So I've done, okay? You could get your marks for this, but just as a preference, and if you've got time to do it, it's better to keep the lines straight. So I'm going to erase these because I know where I need to go with the arrows. Now, I've decided now. I know what the network diagram needs to look like, I just need to straighten up the lines. So this will go straight to H, this will go straight to H2. And just restate the labels. E is a prerequisite of H, F is a prerequisite of H, but it's already there, I didn't need to fix it, and G is a prerequisite of H. So that is the network diagram of the provided precedence table. Let's double check if it agrees. A task has no immediate prerequisites, so it comes out of the start. B is a task that can only occur if A has happened, so B comes out of the end of A. You can see there. C only happens when A has occurred, so C comes out of the end of A. D only occurs when A has happened, so D comes out of the end of A. E occurs as a result of B, so it comes out of the end of B. F occurs as a result of C happening, so F comes out of C. G occurs as a result of D, so it comes out of the end of D. And then H occurs as a result of three other tasks occurring, three prerequisites, E, F, G, so they combine into the one node to allow H to occur. So that is the precedence network. We've double checked it. Hopefully that helps you out with this process, and I'll see you in the next video.